That was a big win. Not just because the Pirates played the Diamondbacks, that has obvious playoff implications. They're both in the chase. They're fighting for one of those last wild cards. All that is obvious. And then there's the other layer of losing Esmerlyn Valdez to injury in the middle of the game, and what a big part he has been to this team. And being able to make sure that didn't get him down. And to rise above that, that's a big part of this equation. And then there's the third part. And it's one we've talked about a couple times this year. But this is just one of those games where one of your veterans just wins it for you. That all Brandon Lowe did was just show up and deliver. That's why the Pirates made that trade this winter. That's why he has been one of the most valuable players to this team. He just made a big reminder after a bit of a slump the last couple weeks. Good morning, and welcome to OffBeat here at North Shore 9, presented by FanDuel. My name is Alex Stumpf, and this is a daily look at your Pittsburgh Pirates. Monday was supposed to just be a good day for the Pirates. Endy Rodriguez activated off the injured list. Spencer Horwitz, also in Pittsburgh, not activated yet, but if you bring a player back from a rehab assignment to the major league team, you gotta feel pretty good about your odds. I think there's a decent chance that Spencer Horwitz comes back sooner rather than later. So it's like, okay, the lineup's on the mend. Good push right before the trade deadline. And then Esmerlyn Valdez gets hit in the left wrist hand area. Now, we don't have anything official from the team. I did spot Valdez in the clubhouse post-game. He wasn't made available to media, so don't have anything to share there. I will say it looked like a normal night for him, just routine-wise. Obviously, take that with a grain of salt. I'm not presenting this as insider, information. It's just looking at the guy, you wouldn't have known initially that, he got hit in that hand wrist area. Maybe he avoids an IL stint. I mean, we have seen with this club that even if the first X-ray reads come back positive, they don't necessarily guarantee, that they will stay the same, that there's not anything more lurking here. We're in a wait and see. But like I am very, very cautiously optimistic. But we'll see. But he gets hurt. Pirates trail 2-0. It looked grim. And then Lowe drives in Mangum and gets the Pirates on the board. And then in the 8th inning, with 2 outs, doubles, and then comes home on a Brian Reynolds double to tie the game. And then in the 10th, base hit down the line. It was one of those games where you look at one of your veteran players and it's like, they don't win this game in 2025. In 2025, they don't get that first run. Brian Reynolds double in the 8th, which was a really good at bat, especially with the break halfway through with Don Kelly getting ejected. He didn't get angry. He just stayed in the moment, kept his timing, put a really good swing on the ball. One of Reynolds' best at-bats of the season. But it would have been basically nothing without Lowe being on base, being that guy in scoring position to come home. In the 10th, Jake Mangum didn't put a great swing on the ball with nobody out. They don't get that run in from third. Lowe, he does. And it's just like those little moments where it's like, that was absent from last year's team. There's a reason why this year's team is in a wild card mix, and it's because they have people like Brandon Lowe, who up until Sunday was slumping. In his 10 games leading up to Sunday, Lowe was batting just 184. His OPS had dipped into the 700s. He did not come out of that break real hot. Now, the offense can power through without him. But we've also seen that be a little sluggish at times this second half of the season. And whenever Reynolds is off to a slow start and O'Hearn not off to the best of starts and Lowe's not getting going, it's like, okay, well, that's a really important third of your offense that's not really hitting. Then Lowe has 3 hits on Sunday. O'Hearn hits the grand slam. Pirates get back into the win column. Then Lowe and Reynolds with the big swings on Monday. It's like, okay, that is the most important third of this offense. Especially whenever there's just so much uncertainty on the injury front. We don't know what's going to happen with Esmerlyn Valdez yet. We don't know yet. Cautiously optimistic, but that's just because I was able to lay eyes on the guy. We don't know when Oneil Cruz will be back yet. We can target those dates of whenever he's eligible to come off the 60-day IL and be like, okay, it'll be around then in early August, but we don't know for sure. Spencer Horwitz, even though he's in Pittsburgh, we don't know for sure. This is a lot of the offense. That's a lot of home runs. That's a lot of hits. That's a lot of RBIs and runs that's on the shelf right now. Not to mention, Endy Rodriguez just got back. Whenever you have stuff like that, you look to your veteran leaders. You look to the guys who are able to clock in and day out and set that example. And Brandon Lowe has been that type of guy. We've talked about how this might be the greatest season, whenever all's said and done, for a Pirates second baseman ever. It's pretty safe to assume he'll pretty much reach every franchise single season record mark for a second baseman. Outside of maybe RBI, that's 99. He's at 67, 2/3 of the season. He's on pace for it. We'll have to see if he can follow through. But whenever you look at this team that's right now an offensive-driven club, he has been one of the heartbeats to make that possible. And after a slow stretch, starting to look more like the guy that we saw all year, and he won that game on Monday. We're going to take a quick break, throw it over to Cody. We'll be right back.
This episode is brought to you by IQ Bar, our exclusive snack hydration sponsor. IQ Bar protein bars, IQ Mix hydration mixes, and IQ Joe mushroom coffees are the delicious, low-sugar, brain and body fuel you need to win your day. The Ultimate Sampler Pack is a great way for you to try all IQ Bar products and flavors. You get 9 IQ bars, 8 IQ Mix sticks, and 4 IQ Joe sticks. All IQ Bar products are clean label certified and entirely free from gluten, dairy, soy, GMOs, and artificial ingredients. With over 20,000 5-star reviews and counting, more people than ever are fueling their lifestyles with IQ Bar's brain and body boosting bars, hydration mixes, and mushroom coffees. The Ultimate Sampler Pack includes all 3. My personal favorites so far have been the almond butter chip and the iced tea lemonade hydration mix. It's just really full of flavor. I love starting my day with it, and I couldn't imagine starting my day with anything else other than IQ Bar products. Right now, IQ Bar is offering our podcast listeners 20% off all IQ Bar products, including the Ultimate Sampler Pack, plus free shipping. To get your 20% off, text MLB to 64,000. That's MLB 64000. Message and data rates may apply. See terms for details.
Would you believe the lights just started to dim at PNC Park? This is the production value you get here recording in the ballpark. But whenever you see a performance like that, it's like, yeah, you gotta do the show in the stands tonight. That was a playoff atmosphere. That was the closest thing this ballpark has had to a playoff atmosphere since what? The Chris Archer game in 2018? Even though they bought in 24 and, they were in the mix for a good chunk of the season, there was never really, I guess, the Skeens debut, but that was May. That doesn't really count. There hasn't been a game in the second half of a season that has had the stakes of this series. This is the most important homestand we have seen for the Pirates in a long time. And right now they're 2-2 in it. And they've got 2 more vital games against these Diamondbacks. Having the tiebreaker would be vital. There's a long way to go. And they're going to need this offense to keep producing, even with the injuries, even with some of their stars slumping. And in a way, the stars slumping is probably a bigger detriment to this offense than the injuries, because they have shown they have depth. We have seen Jake Mangum come in and perform admirably. Callahan has slowed down, but he has had a nice run overall. Esmerlyn Valdez was a product of Oneil Cruz going on the injured list and Justinson Garcia struggling. It's like, okay, go someone else to the depth. Go somewhere else with this depth. The depth has done its part. I don't know if they can survive much more. I don't know. I mean, to challenge the baseball gods, like, I don't know how much more they could realistically suffer injury-wise than they have for a while. Boy, oh boy, I sure hope that doesn't come back to haunt. But the depth has provided this year. It's still the heart of the lineup that's going to be driving this team. When asked post-game if he felt any different over the last 2, Lowe laughed it off. You could tell he's like, guys, it was a slump. Every player goes through them. It was a real just pushback. It doesn't matter. Make light of it. But whenever he has swings like that, you are reminded that, yeah, he gets this party going. This whole offseason, turnaround, like, he was at the forefront of it. Acquiring Lowe was big. It added validity to the offense. It made Ryan O'Hearn look at Pittsburgh a lot more seriously. Brian Reynolds has protection in the lineup finally. Like, there's a lot that's gone on in this offense that I don't know how far they go without Brandon Lowe in this mix. I don't know if this offense ever gets going, if they ever become more than just an average unit at best without Brandon Lowe. And whenever he is able to deliver like this, it's an X factor that there aren't a lot of guys in the NL Central who can match. I mean, yeah, like, there's the obvious PCA. Yeah, you could say Sal Stewart or, Bryce Terang or something, but, like, there's just not a lot of guys in this mix who just, whenever they get hot and lock in, the whole offense gets going. And Lowe is one of those guys, one of those legitimate power threats that we haven't seen from the left side in so long. Time will tell if this was just a 2-game blip for Lowe, if he settles back into that slump that he was in. But I really think that's probably behind him. He looked confident up there. He was being aggressive. He was hunting pitches. That's the Brandon Lowe that we have been searching for all year. That's the guy that the Pirates acquired, that they needed. He delivered. And if this was one of the biggest games in terms of playoff implications at PNC Park in 8 years, it's only fitting that Brandon Lowe is the guy who wins it for the Pirates. Hey, but we still got a couple more big games this series. Be talking to you after them. So you better subscribe wherever you find podcasts to check out more OffBeat here on North Shore 9, presented by FanDuel. Thank you so much for listening. We will talk again tomorrow.
All right, that wraps up this episode of North Shore 9. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whether you're listening on the podcast or catching us on YouTube, if you enjoyed the show, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It really helps us grow. And if you're listening on the podcast, a quick review goes a long way in helping others find the show. Plus, be sure to tell a friend about us. There's always room for more here in the NS9 community. And for those looking to support us a little more, consider joining our Patreon, become an MVP member, and get exclusive perks while helping us continue to bring you more of the Pirates content you love. Thanks again for all your support, and let's go Bucks.